our little friends. Welcome to Tuesday night, March 7th, regular school board meeting in Clewiston. If you're so inclined, please join us in the pledge followed by the invocation followed by the pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was fantastic. Did you hear those children? All right. So at this time, Mr. Superintendent, do we have any presentations tonight?
We do have a presentation tonight, and you let the cat out of the bag. That are some wonderful, bright, and loud students from Eastside, but they got Miss Man, so I know where they get that from back there. So in order to get us started, we're going to ask Principal Miss Denise Gibson to come forward and introduce everyone, and let's get started. Thank you, Miss Gibson.
Thank you. Good evening. We're excited to share a little bit of our Eastside pride with you this evening. Tonight, we brought a few of our Wildcats to share some exciting things that are happening at Eastside. One of our goals this year is to increase learning and academic achievement by teaching our students expectations for appropriate behavior and problem-solving skills. We hope to help them develop the ability to be self-motivated and to encourage and support their desire to be great.
Okay, so we have one of our Wildcats, Eli Similion, and he is going to lead our affirmation that we say every morning. Okay, so he brought some friends to help him out. So tell him to stand.
Like this.
Okay, you all ready? Go.
I am strong. I am strong. I am confident. I am confident. I am perfect. I am perfect. I was built for greatness. I was built for greatness. Today I will be my best. I will be my best. Do my best. Do my best. I will fulfill my purpose. And fulfill my purpose.
I would like to welcome, this is Mrs. Prescott. She's one of our PBIS team leaders, and Dr. Gonzalez, I think she's going to stay back there with the kids. And she'll introduce our student.
This is McKenna Balin. She's a fourth grader at Eastside, and she's going to talk about one of the things that we do at Eastside to promote PBIS and positive behaviors.
So my name is McKenna Balin, as you just heard, and I'm going to be presenting about Wildcat Wednesday. Wildcat Wednesday is a form of kind of like a program where it's like you help, not really help, but what's the word?
It's for promote.
Yeah, to like promote being safe, respectful, and responsible. And each week on Wednesday, that's why it's called Wildcat Wednesday, we will have the teachers each week give out a necklace to one of the kids who has been one of the three things, safe, respectful, and responsible, to help promote being safe, respectful, and responsible at our school because we want the best out of our kids.
Some other things that we do at Eastside is this year we started a reset room, and what we do is the students go to the reset room if they need a reset. So instead of like an in-school suspension and maybe they just, had a bad morning and they just need a break for 10 minutes, instead of calling the parents, doing all this stuff, they go to the reset room with Coach Jay that we have, and he talks to them. He lets them wind down. Hey, what was wrong? Maybe they didn't like what breakfast was. Talks to them immediately. We try to get them back to class, and that can happen in the morning, anytime they need. They go to the reset room. They do come through me first, and then I just call Coach Jay. Hey, can you take this kid 10 minutes, and then take them back to class. The other thing we do is mentoring. We have 20 male students right now that we check in with. We have male staff on board, which we are so happy. and they go to those students and check in with them. Again, it's just trying to build that rapport with the kids and let them know that this is a safe space and what can we do to help you, because our main goal is to keep the kids in school all day long. They have problems, issues, whatever, we're going to get them back to the classroom. And from all of this, our discipline data, as you see, last year we had 104 referrals. And as of this year, we only had 31 referrals. So we're very, very proud of that. And we could not deal with all of our staff that really believes in what Ms. Gibson and myself brought to Eastside this year. So.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
So the reset room, you have a limit on how many times they can go before another action gets taken? Or how does that work?
In general, it's not a disciplinary action to go there. If we have a student that we would like to keep in school for an ISS, they do use that room, but we really haven't had to use that very often.
Okay.
But when they go to the reset room, their parent is notified then.
Yes.
Oh, they are?
Yes. And so we just let them know, hey, this is what happened this morning. I'm going to put them in the reset room. If it's their first time, and I would explain what the reset room is and let them know. So, and it's really worked out for our kids because they know, all right, I'm not in trouble. I'm going to reset and go back.
Well, and that's why I was asking. I
Yes.
didn't know if kids were going to abuse that.
Yeah, no, so they don't, it's not like, they don't ever abuse it for that. But they do know if we do have several students in, that do have behaviors, and they know when they're worked up, they do know that I have to go to the reset room. So we're really striving for those kids to use that, but
And
never
learning
abuse
to
it.
ask for a break or ask for a minute to go calm down and make better decisions, and then return to the classroom. Because our goal is for them to be in the classroom.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I'm kind of curious of how it all works.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Just real quick on the mentoring, I know you said it for the young boys.
Yes.
Do you have a program for the girls and girls that?
We do not, but we plan to next
Yes,
year.
yes.
This year we were targeting some students and kind of trying to figure out how that impacts them in the classroom, and really we're trying to avoid problems. Those mentors meet with those kids every morning, and just like a check-in, they go by their classroom. How are you today? What are you working on today? What's our goal? Where are you at with meeting your classroom goals? And then if those kids have a problem during the day, they kind of have a connection with that person and they can go to that person. But this year we're targeting those kids and trying to just kind of like do our own study of how it
Yes.
felt. But we do hope to have one for girls next year.
Fabulous. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, they were very excited to come. So, yes.
Great job.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
And let them have a chance to talk now anyway. So,
Be just as fabulous.
yeah. So,
I'm waiting for my ladies to come in.
oh, we got some out there? All right.
I'm gonna get it.
Yep. Well, they're probably bombarded by the
We thought
crowd
that you
leaving.
would be as those
Yeah.
leave.
Not so much,
Might have traffic issues out there and then.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be a jam.
They're hugging kids.
They're socializing. Pam's pumping them up. Let's go.
That fifth grade teacher voice.
Miss Man. You know Miss Man's good list. No. That's Miss Man. Had to be, yeah. Hello. So for those of you who don't know, Dr. Barbara Mundy, she's the Director of Federal Programs. She's got an all-star staff as well, and I'll let her go ahead and get started, introduce everyone, and do their presentation.
Come on, there's seats.
Come on, let's go. Up front. Come on. Presentations and slides here.
Still got 3 more. We got 3. Nobody ever wants to be in front of the class.
There's seats up front, you guys.
You have 3 seats?
Yeah, you can sit up here.
Thank you. Look, we got
Madam
one.
Chair and board members. it
Yes,
is
Dr. Mundy.
Our great opportunity to present before you the faces of federal programs. And under our umbrella, these are the people that we employ with the federal grants that we get. So we have LaBelle side, Lewiston side, and advocates, recruiters. You have this in your packet. I mean, if you have questions about anybody, but these are the faces of federal programs. And I tell them every year, multiple times, we are in the business of customer service. Because if you think about all of the things that we do in federal programs, it's all about meeting the needs and talking to families and community members and building that partnership. So, with that being said, these are the federal grants that we receive. Some of them fall under my department and some of them fall under Mr. Sanchez and Tressa Duncan. So, Title I Part A is the disadvantaged, basically low income. Title I Part C is all about migrant students, and we have 428 enrolled in pre-K to 12, and then 509 OSY and 3-year-olds that are non-attenders right now. So that's a pretty big number of our population. Title II, Part A, I've given to Tressa, and she takes over that one. Title III is all about ELL students, and we have close to 1,000 students, but I believe the last time I looked it was 1216. So, since we made this PowerPoint. And then immigrant, we have 469, I don't think that's listed up there. So Mr. Sanchez does Title IV, and that's well-rounded. Students, safety, promoting safety within the school, and also that's how we fund our close-up group. And that close-up group will be going to Washington, D.C. again next week, leaving Sunday.
On Sunday.
So, pray for them. It's going to be a little bit cold, but the cherry blossoms are supposed to be in full bloom, so I'm a little bit jealous about that. But Title V, it provides a lot of PD for our teachers, and it also, that after-school planning that they have all said that they enjoy, and they're really getting a good enrollment of teachers attending that. That's Title V, and then Title IX is homeless. So last I looked, we had 538 homeless students in the district. So federal programs kind of touches most of our students. So that is that. And then one more that's not up there is our VPK revenues, and that's not a federal grant, but that is a state revenue. So that falls under our umbrella as well.
So then we're going to talk about family academic nights. So one of the things that we have to do through our federal programs, different ones, right? Title I, Title III, Title I Part C, is we have to reach out to the community. So it's not just the schools that have these literacy events going on in their schools, but we do it as well. So we try to take academic nights to Montura. We normally I plan for the kids to have an activity so that I could have the parents with me, and then we go over some things that we want to go over with the parents. Like for Montura, the kids did, it was Dr. Seuss Day, and the kids did activities with the high school students that come and help us out. They had a writing activity to do, they had a read aloud, they had kids dressed in costumes. And then I had the parents, and we were talking about Footsteps to Brilliance, we were talking about the New Worlds reading. Adriana Soto at the time came and talked about the workforce development and what is being offered to adults as well. So we try to incorporate things where we're also teaching the parents.
And all of the activities that we purchase, books that we purchase, all of those come out of our supplemental federal grant.
Yes.
So it's not affecting the budget for general in any way, shape, or form.
And that's, again, that's another requirement, right, that we have this parent-family engagement, and we actually put funds out of our grants to go for that, right? It's always, it's one of the AOF, which is like areas of focus, which is parent involvement, yeah.
And there's always compliance to go with it.
And there's always compliance. So last year, we also did have one in Harlem. That was more funded through Title I, Part A, and we did a whole space theme, and we had Taylor Massey from Westside. She came and read to the kids, and then I worked with the parents again, just letting them know about Footsteps to Brilliance, how it's free, you know, the New Worlds reading. We talked about that, and Mr. Swindle was there as well, and so was Ms. Music, which I appreciate when we can get together, all of us, right, and be out there with our parents. And then I did put a little email there because I did have a parent reach out to me and just say, thank you, you did an awesome job, you know, thank you for this, right? Well, we were gonna do this in the fall, and then we had all these hurricanes. So then we ended up with doing a family night there in LaBelle, and this one was all about math. So we, again, talked to the parents about math and what they can do to promote math literacy in their homes. Real simple, you guys, it's actually having your kids cook. Read directions, read baking, right? So I kind of talked to them about that, created a family recipe book that they got to take home. And then we also bought kits, math kits that had games that they could play with their kids. So we bought them in English and Spanish, so if parents wanted them in Spanish, we had the Spanish version as well.
And then if you notice all the,
Voces Unidas, yeah.
yep, all of the students in pink, they came from, that's a high school club, and I think Eliza will talk about it
Yeah,
just for a minute, but they had over 80 students
Yeah.
in that club, and I'm very proud of them. how
And
they've
Clewiston
done
High
that.
School helps the ones here in Clewiston. So the Clewiston High School Spanish Club, they're very involved as well. But my Voces Unidas came to our Maltura night. So between the two clubs, I mean, they played with the kids, they helped them with the writing activities, they served pizza, they cleaned up. I mean, it was wonderful. I
We're
want you to know
hoping
that.
to build a fire in them for a passion for teaching
Yes.
and keeping that going.
Keeping that going.
We'll see.
And then sometimes our parent nights have to be very specific, so we did have one for the migrant families because again, part of that is compliance as well. So we also did a math night with our migrant families. We talked to them about their M6 information, you know, where if they're going to leave to another state, to come and see our advocates or recruiters so they can get that information so they don't lose momentum, right, in their academics because they're leaving from state to state.
That actually alerts the state that they're moving to, and those advocates and recruiters there can pick up as soon as they get there and get them enrolled and everything, so like Rosa said, they do not lose momentum in there.
Do you see reciprocity from other states
Yes.
with that same?
Oh, yeah. We get notices as well.
We get notices too.
And then we track them down.
Yeah. So it
We
was-
send we have advocates and recruiters that go out, make home visits, they'll knock on doors, and if that's the wrong house, they'll go to another door, they'll ask, have you seen this family? Yeah.
So on this night, I also talked to the parents about math because one of the things I do in these family nights, I get surveys and then they kind of give me topics, you know. So if one time it's reading, we do a reading. If they want math, we do a math. I've had parents reach out about, a lot of them put behavior. So I'm trying to find something for that, you know, like to present to parents on behavior. All right. Okay, now we have Pam.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, I'm Pam Cooper, and I'm the Federal Programs District Technology Resource Teacher, kind of like a academic technology coach. And I get to go to all these fun parent nights, and I get to do the same thing at schools. So I'm kind of customer support all over the place. But I want to highlight two things that are some of my projects that I have. And the first one is Footsteps to Brilliance. I'm sure you've heard of it. They've spoke about it. Our superintendent was on a big billboard. You probably saw him on the side of 27 with my grandson.
We need to replace.
Yes. But Footsteps to Brilliance is a reading program that's free to all Hendry County children ages really 0, but I put 2 because that's the age that they say, through 3rd grade. All you have to do is have a Hendry County address and you can sign up for that program. The parents can sign up for it, see their students' progress in that program. So I get to go and distribute information at the community events, at parent meetings, and the migrant recruiters also do that. We have gotten them trained in the program because I can't speak Spanish very well, but they can. So they can go out and they can speak to those parents and show them, hey, look, we have this program, it's free. And it exposes those students to those early literacy skills in English and in Spanish. So that was a great thing that we did with some of the grant money to get this program for our district for 5 years.
Just real quick, going from English to Spanish, if they're reading Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and they click on the icon, it's Spanish, just like that. So our goal in that was to try and also get the adults that are working with them. They can switch back and forth.
That's right. And they can even record themselves reading. So that is something pretty cool.
But it's like that.
It is just like that. Another cool thing about the Spanish version is when you click over to the Spanish version, it also has kind of like the little stories that they were used to listening to. They're not, like I grew up listening to, I don't know, I'm a little teapot, but yeah, Three Little Pigs. But in the Hispanic culture, there's other little nursery rhymes that they grew up listening to. So they have also included those in there for the Spanish population.
And don't forget about.
Yeah, and one of the things that we started about last year, we got a connectivity grant, and with that, we worked with IT and trying to work together with all our sources. We got 400 grant-funded devices that we are able to distribute to these people so that they can use this at home. Now, you may think, well, they may not have Wi-Fi at home, but that's okay, but because before we give them to them, we download all the content, and Footsteps to Brilliance can run without Wi-Fi. It's downloaded on the device, and we just ask them to come to a school or to somewhere like McDonald's that has free Wi-Fi, let it connect to it, and it will upload the data for us for our district to see. So, do you have any questions about Footsteps to Brilliance?
And we try to promote that at all of our parent meetings.
And in the schools. I go and I help teachers promote it. They can use it for intensive reading groups. It really is something that helps build those literacy skills and close achievement gaps.
And we have some left, so we're working on getting, my goal is by the end of the year to have distributed all 400 of those devices.
I think we've distributed at least half. So if you know someone that meets that grant funded criteria, please reach out to me and we'll get them a device. Okay, and this is one of my favorite things that I get to do because I'm STEM at heart. We have a Title IV, again collaborating, grant-funded STAR Lab that I get to bring to the schools, and it has lessons K through 12 there. And some of you have come to some of the events that I've put on and have experienced the STAR Lab that has earth and space lessons, pre-K through 12th grade students. When you step inside this STAR Lab dome, you're kind of traveling into whatever lesson that I'm presenting. And it's a world of knowledge for them that includes astronomy, geology, physical geography, and more. A lot of times at the middle schools, they want me to come do plate tectonics because that's something that's tested at the 8th grade level. It inspires the students, it engages them, it makes learning about science like an unforgettable experience that you couldn't get from a textbook.
And Pam did this at pre-week for professional development for teachers.
For that Hella
And it was one of the most attended, I mean, you had them wall to wall, right? Teachers.
And I keep every day Well, not every day, at least 2 to 3 times a week, I get emails from teachers, can you bring it, we want to do this, can you do this? So, and I try to accommodate everyone as best as I can, because she says I'm customer service.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Any questions about the Star Lab?
Do we own that, or we rent that from somebody?
No, we own that. It was purchased through Title IV grant. And I actually have 2 different domes. I brought the large one to the Huddle Up Hendry, which is 21 feet. I have a smaller one because when I got that, because in my eyes, bigger is better, then I'm like, oh wait, where am I going to put this at LaBelle Elementary School? They don't have anything with 21-foot ceiling. So we were able to procure a 15-foot one. It doesn't hold but one class at a time, but it at least lets them come in.
21 feet tall.
Yes. Did you see it in the Williston gym that day?
I did not.
Are you presenting again?
It's very.
Probably.
Huddle Up
You'll be able-
Henry or
Yes, she
whatever.
is.
She may be there again.
And I'll probably have some upcoming bookings, and I can reach out to you and let you know so you can come. I know I've seen Ms. Peterson, Mr. Swindle, Ms. Nelson, Mr. Samurai.
And she can push it out to everybody.
Yeah.
So,
This really means I can get going.
Y'all can't let them in the space lab together.
Oh, I have to just have separate, one with each class?
Yes, keep them separated, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go too.
Fantastic job.
I like it. I've been a few times now.
It's great.
It's great.
I love it.
And because at every grade level or age level, you have different lessons.
Yes.
So when you go, you're learning new things. It's very cool.
That's easy for me to do.
Okay, back to you, Rosa.
All right, so one of the things that we, again, is part of our grants, right, we have to have ELL meetings and PAC meetings. The PAC is with the migrant parents. So when we meet with our parents, a lot of times we're surveying them and trying to find out how better we can service our students, right? It's part of our requirements, but we try to have these meetings at least 3 to 4 times a year. So and now we're getting back in the groove of things, right? Because we had COVID, so there was maybe 1 meeting a year, but now we're trying to set up more meetings with our parents and get their inputs. We also talk to them, I mean, when we have these meetings, we also have, like the Hendry, the centers, the health center, right? They come, Hendry Health, whatever they come.
yeah,
What
we
is it?
have,
I'm trying to remember.
yeah, we invite our.
Yeah, the Florida Community Health Centers, they come, so we have, just different community partners that come in and they have, things to give to the parents, right? They have information, they
They do
have,
blood pressure
blood
check.
pressure check.
I've had people
Yeah.
say, you know what, I didn't know I had blood pressure until I went to your meeting, and now I'm going to the doctor again. My blood pressure monitored.
And this one meeting was also one where, Ms. Soto, before she retired, she also had a booth that was explaining everything that Workforce had to offer our parents, and they stopped. But we have different, again, community partners, and we have a meeting with them first, and then the parents are able to go to the different community partners, get free information, talk to them about different things. And you know, we always have a meal because a lot of them are coming from work to do that. So we have to, we do that as well. Parent universities, these are done in LaBelle and in Clewiston. At LaBelle, they host it at LaBelle Elementary, and it's pretty much like a parent type class, 1 day out of the week. Okay, so every month they put out a calendar of what they're going to be teaching parents, and some of that stems from what parents need, right? Erlinda, can you say something else about the parent university? Because she takes care of it over here in Clewiston.
So this is Erlinda Brown.
This is Erlinda Brown.
Yes, some of the parents that want to learn, first I give them information of what is happening in the school, when report card is coming out, how to read it, the progress report, and that's giving them a chance to catch up with their grades before the report card come out. Oh, I didn't know. So those are the things that I inform the parent, and then math, teach them a little bit of math that they see, that they see the kids that don't understand what it is. So I have Miss Alvarez, she's a math teacher, so she works with me with that, and we try to cover, all those information for them.
We have those on both sides.
On both sides. And the people that are in charge of it, they do contact some of these teachers that, like, parents want to know more about math, right? And then they contact these teachers that'll go and volunteer their time to help teach the parents the math, or the kids are there and they need help with math, and so they're working with the kids and also helping the parents learn the math content. Math is always a big one, you guys.
Customer service,
Yes.
building relationships. VPK. So we have Mr. Talata.
All right. So our VPK, we currently have 13 classrooms of VPK students in the district, in Lewiston, in LaBelle, and in Montura. And we just finished our enrollment process lottery for next year. We're still taking applications, but the students who've applied at this time are being utilized for our first round of choices for students for our next year. And I fully expect those classrooms to all be full again next year. We've had lots of parents, lots of activity in the offices in LaBelle and in Lewiston, and there's no way possible we would have been able to do everything we were able to do without all of the advocates that work in the office, with Dolly at the front desk, and they are vital to being able to run that program the way it runs. We've had a lot of change in VPK over the last year. Teachers have had to participate in lots of professional development about a class assessment that is part of our assessment from the state, and each teacher has to undergo a 2-hour observation by a trained observer who comes in and observes their interactions with the students in the classrooms, between the parents or the adults in the classroom and the students. And they are required to score at least a 4.0 on that in order for that school to continue to provide VPK for the following year. And all of our teachers and all of our assistants are part of that. And every single one of those classrooms did score well above the 4.0 metric this year. So that was great for the first year, and there's no way to get around that. There's no short way to get around not being able to do that
New rules
observation.
and regulations.
New rules.
What is the threshold from 4 to what was
It
the
goes from
maximum?
0 to 7, and 4 is the requirement.
Right.
Most of ours were close to 5, 6, and 7 are considered very good. Okay?
And is this once a year?
It's one time a year. And then also our students are participating in the VPK FAST assessment, which kind of lines up with the K2 assessment that's required from the state as well. It's basically the same assessment at an earlier level, and they do that assessment 3 times throughout the year as well. So that's new for our students as well. And then finally, we're participating in a math project this year, an early math initiative that is a grant from the Department of Education, and it includes teachers providing hands-on activities with students, groups of students in small groups 2 to 3 times each week. They present a new activity each week that builds on their previous knowledge. So sometimes they'll have a foundational lesson, and then the next week, like today, I went and observed one that was building on the skills that they learned last week, which was about shorter and taller, bigger and smaller, those kinds of things. And then this week they had to order the objects, the animals, from smallest to largest. They were given a set of animals and they had to be able to put them in order from the smallest to the largest. They also had to, the carry on from that was they have to be able to recognize ordinal numbers, so they put their animals in a line to go to the barn, and then the teacher would say, can you find me the 3rd animal in line? And they'd have to count and get to the 3rd animal and those kinds of things. So it's teaching them the ordinal numbers. It's very direct instruction from the teachers. This year, as part of that project, we have 5 classrooms who are implementing the curriculum, and then next year, the rest of our classrooms will implement the curriculum as well, and those that implemented this year will continue again next year as well. As part of that, there's coaching, which is part of what I do. I go in and coach the teachers. We have to observe each classroom 10 times during the school year, so since I have 5 teachers, I've been in classrooms about 40 times at this point. I've got a couple more for each of them to do. And then there's home activities that are sent home each week for the parents to continue to build on the skills that were presented in the classrooms from the teachers. And then That's pretty much everything we're doing right now at VPK, but it's a very busy place, and it's a great thing that VPK is under federal programs because, like I said, without all of the other people that are helping support enrollment and continuation of the program, it would be impossible to do at the level that we're able to do. Every time I get calls from the Early Learning Coalition, they're always very complimentary of our district and how quickly we take care of problems and resolve things. Like I had one today that we had a background check that needed to be updated, which I had updated, but we didn't get it reported in the right place. But you know, she's like, "Thank you," and it's done. You know, and some they don't have that same experience with everybody. So it's very complimentary of the way it's been presented here. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. So you said we have 13 classes.
Yes.
Okay, and now they're filled up. It's the second week in March. How many classes would we really need to fill the needs of all the people that have requested this service?
So part of the way it's laid out, Paul, is that we provide for the school year, and then we also have summer offerings for VPK for those students who are unable to attend during a school year program. How many students apply that don't get into our program? Is that what you're asking specifically? I don't know a definitive number, but I would guess that between both sides of the district, applications that come into our office of students who aren't placed during a school year program, roughly 40 to 50 kids. And then they go to private providers. Yeah, combined. They would go to a private provider. That's one option that they have. And some of them do that. I mean, I'd say probably half of those kids do that because sometimes we have openings that come up and we'll go back to our calling list and we'll call to see if they've gotten a placement. If they've gotten a placement, we don't try to interrupt that placement.
Do we fund it?
Do we fund it?
Do we fund a private placement?
No, that's from the state. The VPK is all funded from the state.
Vouchers.
So yeah, they have to apply for a voucher. That's part of the
Can we help them with
process.
that? With that process?
We do, don't we?
Well,
Remember our motto?
Some of them are saying, some of them are like, do we have to keep doing that?
Because eventually they're going to be our
But we
students
do
anyway,
help them
so
with
we
that.
want to build that relationship from the beginning.
But as far as like, it's hard to say how many would be like the end number of if we said we're going to take every single one. It'd be hard to know exactly because some people like that private provider experience, that smaller setting, that, you know, less in germy setting for their kids. You know, it's not like every single person in the district that has a 4-year-old wants their kid in a public school when they're 4 years old. Not everyone does.
I guess my only question was, is 13 enough?
It seems to be pretty good at this point. Like even like at this point, we've got about 100 applications in Lewiston for next year and about 120 in LaBelle. We have 260 seats available, so we're not quite filled as far as our seats at this point.
Right.
So it's been pretty good as far as
I just want to make sure our kids are being served, so.
I mean, we
But
try.
that's because we've grown the program.
Right.
So like
Oh, it's
when-
grown huge.
Yeah, we've added
Yes, we
classes
used to
the
have
last
4, 5,
couple of
6, and now we're all the way up to 13. So we have tried to meet the need.
Great.
And I think that we probably service about half of the 4-year-olds in the district, at least.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at
If you
the
look at
numbers for
kindergarten
kindergarten
numbers.
and the numbers we've had in VPK.
And then if you add our summer numbers into that too,
Then it's even
that's
higher.
A little higher.
So-
Because we usually have about 25 students in summer in Lewiston and 25 in LaBelle, so you add
And it is
another-
voluntary, right? It's not mandatory, so.
And then there's some people that just don't participate anywhere. You know, even though we try to encourage them to do that. Yeah, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're going to move on to recruiting, and Miss Orlinda, if you'll come back. She's going to talk to you about recruiting, and before she does that, I just want to say that it's all about employing the right people for the right job. And I feel like I have the best people working for me, and my advocates are absolutely the best. So I have Orlinda here, I have Dolly here, who still does some of that. I have Margie. Maria is my office manager, Nancy, Anai, Eliza. I get everybody. So these are all advocate recruiters, and they wear many hats as well, so.
Yes, we go in group of 2, and you know, sometimes they feel intimidated. Well, first thing, well, how old are you? And so because it has an age limit that we have to target. And they have a welcome bag. In the welcome bag is dictionary, Band-Aid, deodorant, and stuff like that, and they would love backpacks. And so once one warm up and we are able to tackle the other one sees, then they come around. And so one of the things that we offer as well is a little bit of English class. It has been a little challenging after COVID, but we're trying to get back on that. So that's one of the things that we work on. And since I'm standing up, I'd like to express too that with services, they're reaching out to the need of the community and come along with the churches. When I started, Dolly was with the Episcopal Church. The members there used to get with her, and any student that the family their need, they would buy them for Thanksgiving. They would get Thanksgiving card for them and food so that they can get food for Thanksgiving. And then they extended it to Christmas. So they would buy Christmas presents. So we'd have to get the age of the kid, the size, and all of that. So when I came on and that changed positions, she said, I need your help. I said, okay. So we started with 15, and then it grew to 30. And then the Episcopal Church said, well, you know, we only are going to give 15 kids. So I said, okay. So I went to my church, the women's group. I said, I have this project here. So this year, we gave a present to 30 kids between the 2 churches.
And these are all on donations.
And donations. These are all donations.
Not federally funded.
That's not federally funded. These
Those are community donations.
Community donations. We partner with churches. So some get bicycles, and they ask for what would the kid want, and we try to do that. So we go out of our way, then we go and deliver the presents to the kids. The girls will help us, and so we try to, sometime at night. I'm lucky, I could say I could go at night. I don't have small children, I'm old, so I could go at night, and especially for home visit, that the parents work and they don't come home until 7 o'clock or so, and I need to talk to them and get their signature. So that is one of the things that we go out of our way to help the family, translation and all of that stuff that we do.
And I'm sure you get calls all hours.
Oh, yes. And what I thought, that's smart, I put their names on their phone, so when it's 11 o'clock and I see who it is, I say, sorry, can't answer you tomorrow.
So that's recruiting. And we're going to move into English classes. So Marlene is actually one of our newest advocates, and Rosie's going to talk about the English classes that she does.
She provides English classes during the day to our parents or you know, out of school youth that maybe don't go to work, go to work at different hours. They can come in and do some classes. As you can see in the picture over here, that's how they started. This is how many students she has in one of her classes, because she's got a morning session and afternoon session. She does it in Clewiston, and she also does it in LaBelle. And then, you know, when Miss Ramona passed away, she was giving English classes in Montura, so there was a big need for that, and now Marlene is also going to Montura. That's why she's not here. She's teaching English classes in Montura at night.
Still working.
So she's working.
So now for the fun part, right? So we're going to bring up Eliza and Anaí, and they have a couple of slides where they're going to talk about what they do with the students. We have several students too. You want them to come up now, or? Okay.
Okay, so I'm Eliza. I'm a migrant advocate recruiter for Level Middle and Level High, and this is Anaí. She goes to Houston High School. We're going to talk a little bit more about CAMP. So CAMP stands for College Assistant Migrant Program. So this program was designed to assist eligible participants from migrant and seasonal farm work backgrounds and completing the first year of college and transitioning to complete their bachelor's degree. The program helps by providing the students with academic, social, and financial support. And the students can be signed, if they were signed in pre-K and their certificate expires when they're in second or third grade, they are still eligible for the program. So it doesn't matter if you were signed in high school, if you were signed in elementary school, as long as you were a migrant student, you qualify for the program. There's two programs that we mainly, two colleges that we mainly work with. One of them is Michigan State University,
Which is this is the first year we worked with them. And Lee County, they were the ones who
Yes, Oscar.
yes, they went ahead and
they connected
us
to the contact.
with MSU.
And then we also work with the University of South Florida, and these are just some of the services that they offer. Every program is different, but like Michigan State, since it's out of state, they do offer in-state tuition to the migrant students. They offer quite a bit of scholarships. They have secured housing, so the students don't have to apply for housing, it's already given to them. They have academic advising, peer mentoring, and then they have a study abroad trip to Mexico that they have during their spring break. And then at USF, they have a scholarship that they get personalized tutoring, mentorship program, academic advising, health services, and then transitioning out of camp, because camp is technically a first-year program for the migrant students. So this year we had 14 students total from LaBelle and from Houston applied to USF, and so far 7 have been accepted into the university, to the camp program. And then we also had 5 migrant students apply to Michigan State, and out of those 5, 4 have gotten into the program. And I want to say 3 out of the 4 are going to go to Michigan State. Yes.
So we're excited about that.
Very proud of
With
them.
the
Very
first,
proud of them.
it's hard for all of them because they don't want to leave their parents because they're so attached, and it's like they're tight-knit families. But I let them know, it's their chance, it's the children's chance of a lifetime that they won't have.
And a really cool thing that Michigan State does is they have on-the-spot admission decisions. So we had Zoom calls, and I had to set up the kids in their iPad, and I had to call them out of class, and they got told right then and there if they got accepted or not. And then at the end of March, the recruiter, the housing advisor, and the financial aid advisor, they're all coming down to Florida to talk to them and their parents to, be like, hey, this is how it's gonna go, this is how much money we're giving the students, and all that stuff. So they cover everything for them. So those are our students that got accepted. The only one here is Ariana. She's like, you are. She's currently serving as the president of Voces Unidas. So, yeah, we're really proud of her.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Are you going to talk about that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me go back.
So while she's doing that, I said it's all about hiring the right people. So when we hired these ladies, they really took off with the program. Because I'm not sure Voices Unidas has ever been this big.
No. It was in middle school.
Yeah, it was at the middle school, and when I got the position, I moved it over to the high school. I thought it'd do better. It has. So,
The children have taken it well.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mariela Hinojosa. I'm the president of Voces Unidas. So this club was designed to help migrant and Hispanic students see their value in our community by serving. It is a place where everyone can understand and relate to each other, with their struggles. So we've gone to various community events. We've helped out other schools, we've gone to like Hendry County events. In the pictures right here, you can see that we've gone to LDS PAC meetings, family nights, and we have a little event called Kawadanga.
A country of
Yeah. And some of our members, we have like shop with a clock at Christmas. And then we also work with like Avid, and we did like Thanksgiving baskets. So we donated them to United Way. We made little baskets and packaged them and donated them. We've also have various fundraisers at our school. The club currently has 80 members, and out of those 80 members, 25 of them are migratory students.
Very good. You want to talk about Spanish Club?
Spanish Club, you want to
All right, Spanish Club.
Spanish Club.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Miss Perez. I teach Spanish at the high school, AP and AP Spanish. And I'm also the Spanish Club sponsor. I have been on this position for 5 years and have been a really great blessing to me. Tonight I have Hendry Sturcio, who is the Spanish Club president, and Gabriela Sanchez, who is the secretary of the club. I also have a representation of some of our members, and Sandra Danis on the back, raise your hand, who is our vice president. So they're gonna introduce tonight what is the Spanish Club, what is our mission, and some of the activities that we have done along this year.
Hello, my name is Genesis, and the Spanish Club mission is to promote awareness, appreciation, and understanding of the people and diverse cultural of this production of the Spanish-speaking world, and it also proposes to foster a friendly relation with other peers as well as the community. At the time, the work within to better understand diversity through cultural awareness.
So I am Gabriela Sanchez, I'm the secretary, and along this year we have served the community of Calusan. We have helped other schools with the PAC meetings, we have helped with the parents meetings too. We normally go and help them translate and help them with the iPad night, for example. We had the Calusan High School and the East Side Hispanic Heritage Night. We had the Montura BPK Fest. And we had the Montura Christmas Festival, which we all dressed up as Disney characters and gave presents to the kids. I was one of the main characters. I was Maribel from Encanto. And last year I was Moana from Moana movie. We have helped with the Artful Taste of Houston and the Family Math Night too. We have been really involved in the community recently. The club recently have about 54 members, and those 54 members, 35 of them are migrants.
And I also want to add, like, the Spanish Club is also that place where migrant students and students that come from other countries, Hispanic countries, they can feel that they have a family. As migrant as well, I came from Cuba 7 years ago, and I understand the need to be in a place where you feel that you know something, because they're exposed to a new language, a new culture. Some of them, they left their family and their country as I did, and being on that group, on that place, give them security, and that's what we want for our students, because it's not only to succeed on academics, but these families will help them to get that step.
So proud of our clubs and our boards.
Yeah.
And our stewards. And then the Kenny-Vento Act talks about students that are homeless, and those can be students that are living in motels, cars, doubled up with other families, living in standard housing, things like that. And with that, we're going to close unless you guys have any questions from us.
Plus, there are also students that receive some of these Christmas presents and get to shop with cops and things like that. So.
You said you had 538 homeless?
Yes. And many of them are doubled up. So it's like a family living with the grandparents or with their aunt, uncle, 2 families together, based on necessity.
What kind of, you provide the services that we monitor?
So what we do is we get funds for that, and we provide backpacks, supplies, clothing if necessary, shoes, whatever they need, we try to find for them. And then we also do after-school tutoring. We can do one-on-one if we have a student in high school that needs that extra push to get extra credits. So transportation, if they need to go get a birth certificate or immunizations. They have some new statutes out right now about unaccompanied minors and those are the ones that are like couch surfing. You know, they left their home for whatever reason and they're staying with a friend tonight and a grandparent tomorrow and different things. So, yeah, it's a big part of our
That a high
job.
number, 500 something, that normal range is always in.
Now, when we have a hurricane, sometimes it does go up because if you're displaced for 2 weeks, you become homeless for the whole year. Like, we provide services for the whole year because 2 weeks of living someplace else or in a different county maybe, that just sets you back. I mean, so we're just trying to keep that achievement going. Yeah.
Gotta be tough to track those kids like that, if they're jumping.
So
families.
I hire Vicki Stem, and she's a retired principal. I don't know if you guys know her, but she updates the list. These are your homeless students, and they're all in focus. Like they fill out a student residency form. So she updates the list with attendance, with grades, and then those go out to counselors and principals. And Pam coordinates the after-school program for them and makes sure that as many of them as possible come to summer school. So,
Do we see more truancy issues with them, with the homeless, or than
that
average
has
student, or
not
no?
been a trend in Hendry. It has been a trend across the state, but when we do our program evaluation at the end, that is not a trend for us because retention is not a trend for us either. Like we promote those students because we try and get everything they need through after school or summer school.
Props to you guys then, that's awesome.
So listen, my job is only made easier by the people that I have surrounded myself with. And I cannot do it without these ladies and gentlemen. So,
Congratulations, because that's a feat right there for them not to be a truancy issue and being homeless. That's fantastic. I like to hear that.
What is our percentage, what's the population percentages as compared to like our brick and mortar, like the 538 kids? And do we have a higher percent, I guess what I really want to know, do we have a higher percentage in Hendry County than in like surrounding counties, or are we on par, like are we in the?
So the state has a goal of about 5%, and what they determine that by is trends. So they're saying that our district, being the size that it is, with the population that we have, we should have about 5%. So we normally hit that 5% or close to it. Now we have a K-12 virtual school that they do not have 5%, right? So that does bring our percentage down, but when I write the grant, I say, if you're just looking at our schools and our district, this is what our percentage is. And if you're looking at it total, this is what it is. So I give that explanation in the grant, and the homeless grant is actually a competitive grant. It's not an entitlement grant. So we have to work special hard.
Explain the part about this.
Competitive versus?
Yeah.
So Title I is an entitlement grant, and all the others are too. So that's just saying that based on the census, we have low poverty students. Title V is all about being rural. So they're saying because of that, you are entitled to receive these federal funds. But with homeless, it's competitive. So you write the grant, you could be eligible for up to this amount if your grant gets approved. we've never had it denied, but I mean, I guess it's always a possibility if it's competitive and there's a needier district, but.
I was just wondering, because of our low median income, and if we had a higher percentage than, I mean, but if 5's the trend across the state, I just didn't know if like we would have a higher percentage here.
And it, you know,
than,
it
say, in
changes
Lee
too,
County.
like I said, when we had that hurricane, we had 800 and some odd, and of course the state's like, what's going on? And we're like, we had a hurricane, you know, that type of thing, so.
Any further questions? Just before we break, I want to make sure that we point out a couple of things that I want to make sure y'all understand is key. We're working on some data now, but I think y'all are all aware because we send out the enrollment data. The growth we've had over the last year to 2 years has been exponential. We're one of the few rural growing states within our brick and mortar in the entire state of Florida. The lion's share of those students are ELL students, by the way. They're migrant students coming from other countries, and the population continues to grow. We have well, there's not probably about it. We have the highest in the Heartland District of the highest needs ELL students when they come in, by a large and far. It's not even close. There's a lot of reasons we feel like that is. Whatever the reasons are, it doesn't matter. They're here, they're enrolled, they're our students. They have to take and pass the same standardized test that every other student that we've had since they were in pre-K has to take and pass. Dr. Mundy and this phenomenal staff, they work themselves silly doing things that, from parent nights to working with students, the clubs are just amazing. If you haven't been to one of those meetings and a parent engagement meeting, you need to go to see the types of things they do. And I want to make sure that we point out something I believe that was mentioned earlier. Mr. Sanchez just got back from an overseas trip where he visited some migratory routes where students were coming to America. The trauma that families and students, by the time they get to us, sometimes it's a full year, by the time they leave their home and they walk to wherever they get to in the United States of America. The illness, the trauma, the piracy, the things that they experience on the way by the time they get here is absolutely mind-boggling. And so having a family that they can attach to, that when they come here, there are other students that have been through it, they understand, they speak the same language, have some of the same backgrounds. Those are the things that make it more of a home here. One of the things that I want to give Dr. Mundy kudos on is that she has brought this front and foremost to say, look, as a district, if we want to get better, one of the ways, and probably one of the biggest ways we can do that, is making sure that we're providing academic enhancing services to these ELL students in ways that we've never done before. And so we've been meeting over the last couple of weeks talking about ways that we can do that, because these students are important. They're going to be bright futures here for Hendry County, and we need to invest in them to make sure that we're providing academic gains so that we can get the return on the investment, when they leave us and go be productive citizens, no matter if it's here in Hendry or in Michigan. We want them to be successful no matter where they go. So Dr. Mundy and her team have worked exponentially hard to bring us resources, layers, recommendations, and things that we've never been able to do before. And we're excited to roll those out, and we're excited to see what the future of our ELL students are. And I want to say huge thanks and shout out and virtual hugs to you and all your staff for everything that y'all have done. So thank you all very much.
Do we have any citizen comment?
I have no citizens' comments at this time.
All right, moving on. Consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda? Anyone would like to move to action item or to have discussion?
Maybe a quick discussion on the item E, financial wellness. I looked through all the options. I mean, all that looks great, but I couldn't figure out what the company does. Is it an LLC? Who finances all these services that they're providing for, if we recommend that, for our employees? They talk about loans, they talk about judgment, they look at credit ratings and so forth. How is all that service financed? And are we making a recommendation on a business? And should that need to be competitive?
Yep, Dr. Staley, I believe you worked on that. I'll let you address that.
So it is no cost to us and anybody whatsoever.
Not to us, but it's the employees.
The employees, it's a loan program basically that they can, so it's an employee that cannot get a loan due to their credit score, cannot get a decent loan. So they can go through this to work through. It's an option. We are just providing them an option of getting a loan. And then when they do that, they do get the credit counseling and all of that. This company will work with them too, even before they do a loan, that they can't get with their bank, they can't get with their credit company, but they will tell them and work with them and try to get them into a bank besides this.
Okay.
So it is no cost to
Well, my question is, why does it require a board action?
It's because we're making it a pay period or a pay slot that they're going to be able to use.
Yes.
And unfortunately, what happens is there is companies that prey on people.
Well, no, I did.
And so,
I read the whole thing, and I
Yeah.
just wondered,
Yeah.
sure we're not setting them down a wrong path, so to speak. I mean, why wouldn't you go to the credit union, or why wouldn't you go
Yeah.
here?
Well, because they can't.
those have been ruled out?
right,
Yes.
correct. And this gives
They
them,
send them to those places first.
right. And this gives them an option besides the predatory companies who charge us unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, well, loan
rates.
Weekend loan companies are
Yeah.
awful, but I'm
And
just.
all the credit counseling, the report, all of that is free to them through this company. Other districts have done it, and
Well, yeah, it was quite a list of people that are
Yeah.
doing that, I saw that, but I'm just not familiar with it. Want to make sure we're doing what's best for our employees.
Right. It's essentially another service that they have an option to use.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I also have a question on this one. I know we're cautious of protecting staff members' time. Is that going to require a significant investment of time from the payroll processing to monitor and like set these people up and?
So I think the way my understanding of that, how it works is, it would be just like if you did a retirement said plan and then you set it up and then it's auto done through your said payroll. And then once it's set up, then it just auto deducts said percentage of salary and goes through there. Ms. Cox, please correct me if I'm wrong on every time the payroll happens.
It would be similar if they had any other type of payroll deduction, that we would just take it from their wages. It would be set up as a payroll deduction, we would take it from their wages and send the money to the company.
Okay.
And we do a handful of those now for other various reasons.
We do quite a few of those already.
And I don't necessarily feel like we're gonna have to be inundated with people to take this. It's just another option for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I just had comments on that. I would like to make a comment on the donations. There was like $52,000 from 4 different entities. It's amazing to see people who have the time and the talent and the treasures just really make such a significant investment into programs that they are fired up about. And so I just, Kaplan Leveling and Garcia Farms and T. Disney Trucking and Grading at Corn, Maine, thank you for that significant investment into the beach volleyball sand courts. All of the donations, of course, are appreciated, but those are just, just really big amounts, and I just think that's awesome. And then I would ask to pull the minutes down to an action item, Madam Chair. Consent item A.
Anything else? Mr. Superintendent, do I have a recommendation on the consent agenda?
I recommend your approval of the remainder balance of the consent agenda.
So move second.
Motion by Reverend Brown and a second by Mr. Baskett. Any further discussion? All in favor? action items. We now have action item A, the minutes for February 21st, 2023. Mr. Superintendent, your recommendation?
I recommend approval of the action item A, which would be the minutes from February 21, 2023, as presented.
So move. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Vasquez and a second by Reverend Brown. Discussion?
Madam Chair, as I was reviewing the record of board member comments, I do not think that this is reflective of what I said. I did join you in recognizing Westside Elementary. I was bragging on the implementation of their Science of Reading Aligned literacy lessons. Also, I brought forward concerns about the upkeep of Canefield, and I questioned the criteria to receive one of the 4 supplements designated for the facility maintenance. And I also asked for a wage and benefit analysis for all the positions in the district because of concerns about being able to retain and recruit for the upcoming year. None of that was included in here. And I would like to amend that to reflect. I just feel like my comments are being sterilized, and I would like, if we're going to acknowledge, what other people are saying, then I would like that to be included as part of the minutes as well. Are you able to get there? It's on the very last page, like page 13.
So noted, board, how do you feel? It would require Ms. Collins, I guess, to go back and...
What are you asking for again, Ms. Beeson?
So, as we're looking at board member comments here, I feel like everybody's board member comments got acknowledged in the minutes except for the ones that I made. I was recognizing the implementation of Science of Reading, which is not a huge deal, but I did bring forward the concerns about Canefield, and that ended up in the newspaper. And then the wage benefit, the request for a wage benefit analysis for the positions. Because remember, we had the discussion that they were going to have that together. They had some of the information already, and then they were going to have it together to prepare for negotiations. But, the things I'm asking for or saying during board member comments are not being recorded in the minutes. And I'm just asking for
those 2 items to be added to the minutes.
Correct.
Does anyone have an issue with that?
It's all recorded, voice recorded anyway, right? So, it's all
Yeah, but the minutes-
in a digital version, it's just not in a printed version. I don't see a problem with putting it in a printed version if she wants to.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that?
Motion to amend.
Okay, so,
I make the motion to amend to include the 2 items about Canefield and the wage benefit analysis.
we have a motion by Ms. Beeson,
Second.
a second by Mr. Samardike. Any further discussion? All in favor to the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those amendments will be made. All right, anything further on action item A? All right, then, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And at this time, we're going to move on to board member business. And my apologies, because I really should have said good evening and welcome to our substitute attorney. This is Ms. Schroed. I got so excited by the presentations. We just got going. When I see littles, you lose me. But welcome and thank you for being here tonight. Do you have any attorney business?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Thank you.
So on September 20th of 2022, the school board voted to join other school boards in suing Jewel and other defendants for the harm that they caused the school district. The lawyers for the plaintiffs and the dual defendants agreed to a tentative settlement. The settlement proposal is a fair recovery for the time, money, and other resources expended by the district. It is recommended tonight that the board approve the proposed government entity settlement program set forth in the government entity settlement agreement dated as of December 6, 2022, and release. So that is the recommendation, is that the board approve that settlement.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Reverend Brown and a second by Mr. Bascom. Any further discussion?
Well, I would like to thank our attorney, Ms. Shaddock, because she brought that forward a few months ago and said, here's something we should look forward to. I don't know whether any of us would have known anything about it, except because of her legal advice. She put us right in the playing field, and I think she called all the board members to discuss this before the meeting, because she couldn't be here, because she's got other board meetings, but I have to commend her for that, and I thought that was great. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, Madam Attorney, do you have the figures that we're looking at on that? I want to say, just recall off my conversation with Ms. Shattuck, it was, after everything was all said and done, we're looking at roughly $200,000. That my memory serves me correctly there?
That sounds correct. The gross amount for our school district would be $289,211, less fees for attorneys and then court costs. I believe that percentage was somewhere around 33 to 35%. So that's money that the district can use how it sees fit.
And then there's still, Philip Morris is left in there yet, and they still offer a settlement as well, if I understood that correctly, and one other company?
I believe there's at least one other company, probably two. One of the companies is Altria Group, so that litigation is still pending at this point.
So there may be more settlements to come yet from them, and all of these funds are unrestricted. Do as the board sees it, think the best for the district.
That is correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any board business tonight?
I do not, thank you. I do.
Quiet. Well, I do. I have an ask. As you know, I have served voluntarily on the rec board since I was elected. I have a lot going on in my personal life, and I would like to step down as the school board representative from the rec board. And it could be open potentially to any board member. I would think that a LaBelle board member would probably fill that seat. I'm not looking at Ms. Busen, but I wanted to ask Mr. Hendry, is it something you or any other board member would be interested in taking over, at least until perhaps, the end of this year?
I'll nominate Mr. Samford.
Would you? And I'll second the motion. Let's get it on.
That's my friends.
Well, I have not discussed this with anyone on the rec board.
Stand on the edge of a cliff for me.
We are currently with an interim director, Stephen Lynn, and I will get with him in the
Will
morning.
you let me know when the meeting?
It is next Thursday. It's the third Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock at the rec board building across from the school board building in LaBelle. You'll work with two city commissioners and two county commissioners from LaBelle. A lot of change going on. I think you'll be really excited. I just don't feel like I can give it the attention that it needs right now.
In the time again, it's at 6.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, and it's the 16th.
Sometimes you'll have workshops, there's special meetings we need to go in, but Lily
I've been there
Part-
years ago.
Yeah, well, Lily Part is your executive, I forget the administrative assistant or whatever, and you can contact her. So do we need to, legally, do we need to make a motion on this, or are we just passing the torch? Because I haven't notified anybody within the county or the city yet.
I think there's a motion, sir.
I don't think so.
So just a big thank you.
Yeah.
Johnny, thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Sammer.
We talked about it a while.
Yeah, so it's something, it's finally come to fruition where I'm realizing I just don't have the time to do it. So, thank you very much. That's it for tonight. I'm going to stop there. So, Reverend Brown? Okay, Mr. Vesman?
I'm good, thank you.
You know what? I just want to thank the board members that voted the swamp camp. It was a great event. Gave me a new perspective on the parade. That's our perspective and stuff like that.
Well, now you can check that off of your bucket.
That's
list.
right.
I've done it, and I'm glad
I'm telling you, for years, I watched the kids, the Cub Scouts, and the Boy Scouts, and this middle school band, high school band, and they're waiting to for years. I said, this year you're gonna come, I'm gonna be in.
And we did not lose Reverend Brown.
That's right. Reverend Brown had a great ride.
And he smiled and laughed and threw candy. It was fantastic.
Quite an ordeal.
Okay, anything further, Ms. Houston?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Houston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So one of the things that I am being approached with, and I don't have an answer for them, and when I try to direct them for an answer, I don't think that I don't know if there's been a unified answer or to this, but it involves controlled open enrollment. And I know, and of course it involves LaBelle High School because we're at capacity there. Now, is there what are we doing for, like, I know that historically we've had a kind of an agreement where we take the 8th graders, if they want to, from West Glades. And then I know some Hendry County kids who live closer into the Muse area go to West Glades. And so there's been that exchange, but now like we're facing critical capacity. And are we gonna continue to take out of county students at LaBelle High School? Or I know that there's been like controlled, or in-district open, or controlled open enrollment requests, that's a deadline on that. Is there a deadline here, or like what are we doing with that?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Buston. So we actually started at the beginning of last school year and last summer because we were at critical capacity last year actually at LaBelle High School, and we actually stopped some of the enrollment from out-of-county students. And it wasn't just Glades, it was Lee. We were getting from Lee and Glades, and so we've already approached that threshold and we're already there, and that was one of the huge things that was pushing us into the new high school and the need to matriculate through there. So yes, the short answer is we have already started doing that. When we get to those numbers this year and we start looking at what the capacity is and what the matriculation of students coming in from 8th, 9th grade, what that will look like, and we see what room we have. We could open some seats up, but we're not gonna make that determination until we have the final registration numbers from 8th moving up.
Because I know that, I mean, if we're gonna end up not being able to take kids from West Glades, their other option in county would be to go to Moore Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but that affects capacity of where, because you know, like the way that West Glades and LaBelle High School like have a relationship, there is, you know, some of our students end up going back and forth between like Clewiston and Moore Haven. And so like, you know, what's our capacity is going to be looking like in Clewiston? I know we already have kids that go over there. Are they going to be able to keep their seats there, or are they going to be pushing them back to us? I mean, because I know that like if you don't have the capacity for them, then you can say, no, we can't do it. And then, so, you know, we have the potential of bringing back more Clewiston students, like with not being able to meet their needs for the waivers. But I mean, I just feel like there's going to be like our counties we're cousins practically, and it's really dependent, like, you know, we're very intertwined there. And so, I mean, I feel like our LaBelle decisions are going to, I mean, they're going to have an impact on both sides of the county, and, you know, how students are flowing back and forth. So I didn't know if we had, we have an idea of like when we're going to know closer to like what the cutoffs are going to be for like the final capacity.
We're working on it now, and we're already looking at what the numbers look like from 8th grade going to 9th.
Okay.
And we know the number of seniors leaving, and so they're in the process of working on that now.
What if you had like a new family that moved in?
If they're in Hendry, we take them.
Well, of course, if you're your resident people, you take them. But if you have, because it's our county lines are so weird, because you can have parts of a neighborhood in Glades County, and then that same part of the neighborhood, another part of that same neighborhood is in Hendry. And so if you have a kid that falls into Glades County, he's like a new resident, falls into Glades County, close to that Hendry County line, like, are we gonna be able to accommodate that person, or, you know, that family, or do we push them to Moorhaven?
The numbers will tell the tale at that point in time. I will tell you, we had families last year that the answer was no. They lived right there in Port LaBelle, which was a mile from LaBelle High School, but we had zero capacity at that school, and we had Hendry County kids coming in and registering every day that we had to take, and so we had to tell them no. They yelled, they called me everything but a child of God, but at the end of the day, we've got to service our county first before we, you know, we take those. If we have room, we'll take them with open arms, but we simply did not have room, and we were stacking them in places that we didn't know we had.
I mean, I know.
Our forefathers, as we've talked about this new school, and it's hard to rub the crystal ball and know what growth is going to be next year, 5 and 10 years from now, but our forefathers didn't leave us in a very good situation for the growth that we're experiencing today, and it's caught up to us.
Well, COVID was a curse and a blessing for Hendry County, because we saw that influx from the coastal counties moving in here to get away from policies that they didn't agree with, so.
Yep.
Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, we do have an open enrollment process. Can we just ask that they, I mean, it's February, March, open enrollment. They can sign up, and then there would be a first come, first served basis.
Yeah, oh, they can do that. They were able to do that then. So yeah, they can sign up and ask at any point in time to where at least we have their names, to where once we know what seats we have, we can contact them.
And so they can do that via the website?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's perfect. I mean, at least if they're interested, put them in queue. But that was just more of like a hypothetical question, because I just know that there's, you know, you just hear a lot of chatter from both sides of the county, and there's concern, you know, of how our kids are going to be able to flow. I know we all got an email from our Commissioner of Education, Manny Diaz. Are we in compliance with the explicit books and making sure that we have gone through the process to vet that we don't have these in our classrooms and school libraries?
Yeah, so Mr. Adams through IT has taken that on, and they are, with regard to what we own within the schools, those are already there. We've already gotten them. I think the law requires that they've got to be visible on the website, and parents have to be able to look and cruise through what those are. As of last week, I believe they were finishing up, and they may still be finishing up some of the individual teacher libraries. Some of those teachers that have been there for years, they've got as many books as the library in the center of the building. And so they're going through and scanning those in and making sure they're registered, making sure that, you know, or taking them home, you know. And so we basically told them they had that choice if they owned them, but if they're there, they have to be registered on there. So the short answer is yes. Now, whether you went inventory today on every single book in the classroom, they're still doing it and in the process of it. But the mechanism's there, it's available, parents can see it. There's a process and a form there to where if they want to challenge a book, they can. Up to date, to my knowledge, we've not had any challenged. But everything is there and on the website in compliance, yes.
Okay, that's great to hear. I just know that that's something he popped up on the email and was asking us to verify. When are we anticipating contract negotiations to start?
Union contract negotiations? Preliminary conversations have already started. We've already started putting together the information on our end. They've already started putting together information on their end. We've had just some brief, you know, hey, what's it look like for y'all when y'all want to start? We're still kind of waiting to see exactly what the TSIA money is coming from the state. We have gotten the governor's preliminary budget, which we know will change. We have not seen the TSIA money, so it's really difficult to negotiate without all those things in hand. Last year, we decided to start early, and the language that they wanted to talk about basically took one meeting. We shook hands, hugged, and it was great. And then we were still very early, the earliest ever, getting our contracts approved. The short answer is we've kind of already started. We're dependent solely upon the information coming from the state budgetary-wise when we can have a final agreement.
Where can you find the public notices for the negotiation meetings on the website?
I don't think we public notice those.
Should we be public noticing those?
I don't know. Since I've been involved with them, we have not.
Okay, look to your left.
Yeah.
I'm going to defer to Ms. Shattuck since she has a history here. It's my experience that they are publicly noticed. I don't know how it's done here.
Yeah.
So that would be a question that you could ask Molly.
Yeah. And maybe they're public notice and I don't know about it, but to my knowledge, we did not.
Okay, and other than that, I I know that they said we were gonna put the grad rates presentation on board docs, but it hasn't made it there yet, or even just like an email, but it was the first time seeing it, it was like,